You want to build a successful, winning product in 2023? Well, a great place to start is to look at the recent trends in product. To do that, in this short series, we're going to look at 5 highly successful startups and break down what are the kind of trends we're seeing and specific factors we believe are driving success for those products. So we're going to go through each video and really break that down and help you use those trends, leverage those trends to build great products in 2023. To look at these products, we're going to look at the following key factors. So firstly, the unique value proposition. So how unique and valuable do we think what this product is going to offer us? Okay, that's the first key thing in success that we've seen. Secondly, we're going to look at how acute we believe the problem is that this product solves. The more acute the problem, the easier it is for a product to attract people, to retain them, and to get them to actually pay money for our product. Thirdly, we're going to look at time saved. So how much time does this save its target user? Fourth, how much effort does it reduce for our target user? Fifth, how easy is this product to use? Okay, how easy is it to use? And finally, we're going to look at the onboarding experience. We want to see how long it takes for a user to discover this product and actually get to the core value, right? The main piece of value that they want to get from the product. Now, we're going to look at all of these 6 factors and give them a rating out of 10, apart from onboarding experience, where we're actually going to measure how long it takes us to get to the core value in seconds, in minutes, in days, in some cases. And by looking at these 6 factors, our objective is to give you, as I said, a good idea of the kind of trends, the kind of drivers of product success as we move into 2023 to help you really grow as a business. Now, we're going to look at 5 specific products. We're going to start with a product called Conte.ai in number 1. Number 2, we're going to look at Notion. Some of you may be very familiar with that product. Thirdly, we're going to look at a product called Apollo.io. Fourth, Hopin, and 5th, TestGorilla. By the end of this series, as I said, we're going to give you a good sense of how we break down these products, the kind of trends, the kind of problems that are being solved, and that should help you really grow and build a winning product as we move into 2022. So without further ado, let's jump into the next video in this series. Let's now have a look at the 5th and final fastest growing product from 2022. It's a product called TestGorilla. So let's have a look at what TestGorilla does, and then let's see how it scores on these key factors. So TestGorilla is essentially a way to screen candidates for interview, right? If we are looking at hiring them. Let's start with the unique value proposition. I love their unique value proposition. TestGorilla works, CVs don't. Our screening tests identify the best candidates, make your hiring faster, easier, bias free. Why do I like it? Because it's standing really strongly against the existing way to do things, right? It's showing, hey, we're this new way of doing things. What's the existing way? CVs, they don't work. This new way, TestGorilla, that works. So it's standing very clearly against that. Right? It's sending a very clear message that, hey, this is different to the way things are currently done. It's also interesting because the way they deliver value isn't that unique. You know, they're not revolutionizing the way that we think about the application process for a job, right? It's still screening tests. That, you know, how do we assess that somebody is actually good at UX design or that they're actually good at JavaScript, whatever that specific skill might be, right? Not that unique, but you know, again, we don't need to reinvent the wheel with a unique value proposition. We can just do it a lot better. So can we get the best candidates and make it faster, easier, bias free? If so, great. So not super unique, but I like that they're standing against convention. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Why? Because, you know, ultimately they have to be able to deliver on this. They have to be able to deliver. Second, how acute is the problem that TestGorilla is solving? 10 out of 10. Hiring is a very acute problem to solve, particularly in companies that might have high turnover or maybe hiring a lot of people at the same time. Imagine startup that's just raised investment. So, you know, even though it's not delivering the value in a super unique way that will leverage loads and, you know, lots of curiosity, we think that many people despite that, would still test out the product. Why? Because nothing's quite solving this yet, right? So they're super motivated. They've got a massive problem. They aren't really seeing anything solving it. Why not try this new way of finding great candidates? So because the problem is so acute, we suspect that's a big driver of success. Thirdly, what about time saved? How much time do we think this saved? Hiring teams spend a huge amount of time reviewing candidates, working out which screening process to provide for them, running all of the interviews themselves. That's going to translate to 2 to 3 hours per candidate if we can automate much of that, or have it managed by TestGorilla. So because it saves so much time per individual candidate, around 2 hours potentially, saving interviews, saving reviewing the test scores, etc., we're going to give it a 10 out of 10. In terms of 4, the amount of effort reduced, again, really important. It's the fact that we can just not even have to set up these tests particularly, right? There are templates we can choose from, but also just the thinking, right? The stress about, are we doing the right test for the right role? Reviewing results. Are we doing that well? Are we doing it objectively? And a huge amount of uncertainty about, are we conducting the right test in the first place? All of these things add up to a lot more stress and a lot more overhead for hiring teams. So how much effort does it reduce? A lot. We're going to give it a 10 out of 10. Fifth, what about ease of use? So how easy is this product to use? We love it. From testing it out, love it. Very simple. You name an assessment. Let's have a look actually about the way that we do that. Very simple. You name an assessment, select the test that is most relevant. Right. If you want to test Spanish, you just click the plus button. And then if you want to, you can customize a little bit of that. So very simple. Now we would give it a 10 out of 10, but the product still leaves you wondering a little bit. There's an education piece missing. How would the hiring team know if they picked the right test? We still have that sort of open question there. Is it the right test for the specific hiring, role that they're hiring for? Sometimes it's more obvious. It's like, hey, if we need high-level Spanish, let's do a Spanish C1 test. What about for more nuanced things like product management or specific development skills as well? So ease of use, we're going to give it an 8 out of 10. Finally, in terms of the onboarding experience, TestGorilla is extremely quick and easy to set up your first screening test. As you can see here, name the assessment, select the test that's most relevant for that role, and finally go send it off to them and await the test to come through. We can customize if we want to. So, a lot of, we can see the core value very quickly by creating a screening test, sending it to the relevant candidate. That can be done, pretty quickly, right? Within 5 minutes if needed. However, we have that problem of lag where ultimately to see the core value, we want to see test results come in. Now that's going to take time, probably a day or two, right? To send the test to the candidate, get a response back and see the results in the platform itself. So, again, great onboard experience. It's very simple, but we have this slight issue. We have to wait for the results to come in. Now, if we trigger the user to come back with things like emails, notifications when we get that first response, great. That's a awesome way to re-engage them. But there is a bit of a delay, 1 or 2 days to wait for the results. So to summarize with TestGorilla, we love the way that it stands strongly against the current way, right? That CVs, that's the way we assess people, and we've got this new way of doing it. Other companies do that though, but what they're focusing on here is an execution piece, right? Really delivering strongly, effectively on the kinds of assessments that the screening process, there to save time, make it easier, right? So remove stress and ultimately deliver the outcome, which is great candidates, great quality candidates.